Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Amar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Christine Hakkola, founder and principal strategist at Hakkola Horizons, a serial entrepreneur, former psychotherapist, and coach who's guided thousands of heart-centered leaders to scale their businesses sustainably. Christine's mission blends strategic clarity, personal well-being, and the systems needed for impact that endures. Christine, welcome
Wonderful.
to Founders Future.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I'm excited to dive in.
Me
I
too,
would
Amar.
like to start from the beginning. So take me back to before you started Hakkola Horizons. What were you doing before? And then what really motivated you to start the company?
Such a great question and so layered. And I often struggle with where to start when folks ask me that. As you mentioned, I do consider myself a serial entrepreneur. Have been doing these ventures for about 25 years. I'd say the most relevant place to start is back in 2010 to 2012. I was a life coach. I was a yoga teacher, traveling around the world, leading international yoga retreats and teaching at studios in Australia, US, Canada, Costa Rica. And from there, long story short, I decided to go back to school and become a psychotherapist. So I did my master's in counseling psychology, moved back to Canada at that point, lived there from 2013 to 2015, launched my private practice very successfully. I say I came in the back door. I never worked at an agency. I graduated, went straight into private practice, saw 20 clients in my first week, and did six figures in my first year. And at the
Wow.
time, I didn't know that wasn't normal. But summer of 2016, colleagues that I had graduated with asked me how I did it. So I started getting on the phone, coaching them for free until my business coach said, "Why are you doing that?" And 7 years later, I had built and scaled a multi six figure company training psychotherapists and various mental health practitioners, social workers, psychologists across Canada how to launch, grow, and scale their practices. I
Awesome.
sold that business in 2023, went to work at a law firm as a business development manager, stayed there about a year and a half. And exactly a year ago today, I launched Hakkola Horizons.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what an eclectic background. 100%. So I'm super curious. So you sold the company teaching psychotherapists how to launch, grow, and
Yes.
scale their businesses. Then
Yes.
you became a development manager at a law firm.
Yes.
I start another company. What was the motivation behind that pivot?
Yeah, it's a great question and it's really layered. I'd say it's something I could probably talk about for quite a while. But the most salient features are one, I had immigrated from Canada to the United States in 2018. So
Mm.
I was running the business virtually, living in another country. And I was starting to long for something more and reaching a wider audience than just psychotherapists. So I decided to sell it firstly to integrate into my own community and into the state and the country where I now live. And also because I knew I wanted to reach a broader audience. I took the job at the law firm to have a break, have a pause, clear my head, get integrated into the community. And it took about a year and a half until that entrepreneurial itch came back and I'd regained a lot of clarity about what I wanted to do this time, who I wanted to serve, and the type of business that I wanted to build.
I love that. So let's
Mm.
give the listeners more context into that. Who would you say with Hakala Horizons, who is your ideal customer? Who do you personally love to work with?
Yeah. My ideal customer is a really heart centered, values driven woman, usually in her 30s or 40s, who has often had a career prior to this, either as an entrepreneur or in the corporate world, and has always felt a calling to be of service in a bigger way. They've
Mm,
already started their business. They're often very successful getting to six figures and have a full one on one practice, whether it's coaching, health and wellness, leadership or executive coaching, or another B2B service. And
mm.
they've either just hit that ceiling and don't know where to go next. They're struggling to figure out how to take time off, how to grow their business sustainably when they're already tapped out. or they've already stepped into that next venture and are starting to scale, either bringing on other independent contractors, launching scalable services, but then they get in over their heads and don't know how to build beyond that point.
I love how crystal clear you are, and
Mm.
because I've talked to hundreds of people, and I see the whole spectrum of I work with everybody, or like yourself,
Yeah.
not like that. So walk me through the core offering. What does it actually look like to work with you? What are the kind of the deliverables? What are the outcomes that we're driving towards? Walk me through that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have three different programs that I designed specifically to meet female entrepreneurs at different stages. Because even though I love the stage where they're starting to scale, a lot of my clients start at the opposite end. Those that are in private coaching are often earning 500,000 to a million, and they're just thick in the weeds of starting to scale. So my private coaching programs are geared towards that, and I help them understand how to step out of the day to day and lead their business instead of being in the business. So, building a really strong team, understanding how to hire the right people for the right positions, creating systems and processes in their business so that the business can run itself without their involvement, and understanding how to manage and boundary their time so that they can go on vacation, go on parental leave if they need to, step back from their business and still have an income and still have it be running without their regular involvement. And then the step before that, I have a group program where I work with founders that are just in that transition stage. We cover a lot of the same bases, but many times they're overwhelmed in a different way because they're still seeing a lot of one on one clients and still doing a lot of work themselves. And then I have a 6-week program that I call Flare that is for helping folks get to that point where they are full. They need to understand how to package their offerings, how to position their offerings, how to reach their ideal client, and really build up their caseload.
Okay. So three different tiers depending on the level that they're at in their business. So you've got the one-on-ones, which is the private coaching, the
Yeah.
group coaching, and 6-week flare.
Yes.
Of these three, which would you say drives the bulk of the revenue or is the most in demand?
100% the middle tier, the group coaching program. It's called Rising. It captures female founders who are generally earning between 60,000 and 250,000 a year gross. It's where the bulk of my clientele are when they come to me.
Very cool. I'd love to shift a little bit to the back end of the business because I have a
Yeah.
lot of coaches and consultants that listen to this. Lead generation, marketing is
Mm,
always a topic that we discuss.
yeah.
And sometimes they're doing well with it, sometimes they're struggling with it.
Yes.
For you specifically, how do you generate your leads when you're looking to bring more people onto your programs? What
Yes.
channels are you leveraging? What have you found works the best? Let's
Yeah.
talk a bit about that.
I love that. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to talk about. I'll start by saying I'm not a marketer. I don't teach my clients specific content marketing strategies. When they get to the point of clarity of knowing how they want to market, I'll help them hire the right person. But I do in my business exactly what I coach my clients to do is to stop throwing spaghetti at the wall and to stop copying what other people are doing. What I have found works best for me and for my clients is to grow organically and to pay attention to what's working. When I launched Hakkola Horizons, I grew very quickly based on word of mouth referrals. When I wanted to launch my group program a few months ago, I went to my coach and I said, I don't know how to scale my group program the same way that I grew the private offerings because I've tapped out of my word of mouth network.
Mhm.
And I was thinking about doing the spaghetti at the wall technique and investing in content marketing and all the things that entrepreneurs try to do that 90% of the time fail. And he said to me, how have you gotten your clients so far besides just word of mouth? He said, what do you do? And I said, I just have conversations with people. As soon as I talk to someone and we can build trust, I get to know them, we have a conversation. It's easy for me because we develop a relationship and they see that I can help. And he said, just go do that. I said, what do you mean? He said, where are those people? I said, they're in my network. They're on LinkedIn. They're at networking events. And he goes, go talk to them. And I was so confused at first. But what ended up happening is I started doing cold outreach on LinkedIn. And that drives the vast majority of my strategy right now. 20 to 25% of the people that I reach out to will respond. 5 to 10% of those people will hop on a sales call, and about 50% of those people will convert. That's the
Wow.
strategy that works really well for me right now. I've since outsourced the majority of that, and I just come in at the sales call point. And that strategy I don't think works for everyone. But when I work with my ideal client, I get curious about what has worked for them and find ways to duplicate that on a scalable level.
Very powerful. So you have the cold outreach on LinkedIn. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, my thought process around this in terms of building predictability and consistency with lead gen is it's two approaches. It's either cold outbound or it's paid ads.
Mm-hmm.
Are really the only two that you have when it comes to, aside from affiliates, aside from referrals, aside from
Yeah,
word of mouth, all those different things. Have you ever thought about running paid ads? Is that something?
I have. I have.
Okay. Where
Yeah,
are
it's
you
definitely
at?
something that I've considered. We haven't stepped into it yet for a couple of reasons. One is my business has been so new. I didn't have my newest version of my website launched. It's actually launching this week in a couple of days. I didn't have the infrastructure built yet to do it. Didn't have the capital to invest in it. I found that cold outreach for me was a better place to start because it was cheaper. And right now it's working really well. If and when it stops working, or for whatever reason I want to shift gears, I would absolutely consider doing paid ads. I have a few
Yeah,
clients who do that and it works really well.
sure, for sure. We spend $500,000 to $750,000 a month on ads.
Wow.
Meta,
Amazing.
basically. Yeah, and it does well. There's
Yeah.
various different funnels that we test and whatnot, but what I've found to be the cheapest to test out is what's called the short form funnel. I don't know if you ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's like a 60 to 90-second ad, like a reel. And
Yeah.
then it has a very clear hook, very clear offer, and then from there it gets them into a landing page. There's a 3 to 5 minute video. There's an application. Application has 5 to 7 questions.
Mhm.
Grade their application, and then they're able to book a call.
Yeah. That's
That
great.
off of $30 to $50 a day to start.
Wow. Yeah. That's
And
awesome.
then once you can validate it, then you can scale it beyond that. But I'm
I
curious,
love that.
now that you're a year into this company, if I'm not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want the next 12 months to look like? What are your goals? What are your ambitions? What are you really aiming towards?
Yeah, great question. And I have an answer for you. So I've just brought on my team to help manage the day to day so that I can focus on sales and coaching delivery. In the next 12 months, I plan to be out of sales entirely and just focused on delivering the coaching. I also plan to bring on other coaches to help deliver my mid tier program, the Rising program. And 12 months from now, I would love to have 6 to 8 cohorts. They all hold 10 to 12 people each. So I just want to keep growing the Rising program because it's the one that meets the vast majority of my ideal clients where they are, and I think provides the biggest transformation in the shortest period of time.
I love that. I love how clear you are on everything.
Yeah.
Like I
I
can
had a
tell.
really great coach who helped me get clarity.
Yeah, 100% I can tell. So what do you feel like needs to happen to get out of the sales entirely?
I think that at this point in my business, it's mostly just time. I think we have some really good systems in place for lead gen. I'm liking the way that it's going. I'm prepared to shift gears if that needs to change for whatever reason. And I'm really committed to not getting myself back in the weeds. So right now I'm not doing anything in my business besides the sales and the coaching. So as long as the programs continue to grow the way that they have, and we only launched it 30 days ago, so it's still really in its infancy, but we've gotten some amazing traction so far. I'm already opening my second cohort. And as long as things keep going in that direction, I think by the new year, I'll be looking at how I do outsource that sales process. That's not something I've ever done before, besides having other coaches lead the sales call. But this time I want to be a little bit more strategic about it and figure out who's going to be the best person to take that part over for me.
And are you thinking of bringing somebody in-house like a 1099? Or are you thinking about like,
I'm open. I've done it both ways in other positions, 1099 as well as agencies. My lead gen, for example, started with a 1099 and I just outsourced it to an agency. and I'm having a great experience with that transition. So it may look something like that. But generally speaking, I'm very open-minded in my business. I'm less concerned about how I'm doing things and more concerned that it's working for me and my clients.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect
Mhm.
sense. I would recommend for sales specifically, if you, and this is some unsolicited advice, but if you,
I'll take it. I love unsolicited advice.
if you want to have a closer in place that is truly bought into the mission, vision, and values, that is enrolling the right types of people, that you can make sure that there's quality control as to what they're
Hmm.
saying on the calls,
Yes.
definitely bring it in-house. So 1099
Yeah.
as opposed to an agency. That
Okay.
was very popular in like 2018 to 2020.
Hmm.
A lot of people were outsourcing to agencies and they're getting maybe like 15 to 20% of revenue for that. It's just you can't control what they're saying as much. It's just not as
Hmm.
much visibility. And also, somebody who's bought into your company and they're only taking calls for your company is going to
Hmm.
close at a much higher rate
That
than.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah. I really appreciate that. And that resonates. I think I look at it as a continuum to the lead gen. I see a lot of overlap in what you just said, needing somebody who's rooted in the same values as you, and that there is, I don't know for me if it's control so much, but definitely quality control of what's
Yeah,
being said. The only reason I felt comfortable outsourcing to a lead gen company is because I was able to actually, the company found me and they specifically work with female coaches. So when I met the owner, I knew right away that we already resonated and there was that mutual understanding. So
yeah.
I would imagine the same would be true for the sales process. And unless it was an agency that specifically served my type of business and my clientele, I think you're probably right that having somebody in house would be the best way to go.
1000%. And I think with lead gen, it's a little bit different because they're doing like outreach and it's less customer facing in a sense, if
Mm,
that makes sense. Like they're not getting on calls with anybody.
they're not. No, they're just doing the cold DMing through
Yeah.
email or LinkedIn.
So they're just, that's easily trainable. So I think it's different than outsourcing to a sales agency.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I just think for sustainability, it's better in terms of longevity with keeping the person, retaining the person, getting them trained up, and they get better as they stay longer because they're
Hmm.
only focused on your prospects.
Yeah, I love that. That's,
Um,
yeah, helpful advice. Thank you.
I am curious if you were talking to new coaches that are
Yeah.
just starting off in Q4 2025, they're thinking about
Yeah.
launching.
Exciting.
What are a few pieces of advice you can give them to really hit the ground running and have success like you have in the first 12 months?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say the first thing is to some degree pay attention to what's happening out there, educate yourself on how to build a business, how to market and get clients, and take it all with a grain of salt. Don't just copy or do something because somebody else has had success with it. Pay attention to what has worked for you and what is working for you. Look around and find somebody that you are super excited to help and go figure out how to help them.
Mm,
Sometimes new coaches are so focused on doing sales or marketing strategies or techniques that they forget to just be human and they forget to do the things that are actually going to work, which are finding their ideal clients, making a connection, starting up a conversation, and just be genuinely curious about how you can help and then go help. It's really that simple.
yeah, I love that. And I think as a meta point, what I will say is I would learn from you in the sense of have crystal clear clarity around who you're going after, how you're
Mm-hmm.
helping them. Because I loved as you were going through this, you were very clear in your ideal customer, you're very clear in your
Mm-hmm.
offer, you were very clear in your vision and where you wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having those things dialed in and being
Mm-hmm.
okay to pivot, like you can pivot
Yes.
over time, that's not a
Mm-hmm.
problem. But sticking to something is
Yes.
for success. 1000.
Yeah. Avoid spaghetti at the wall and avoid trying to be everything to everyone.
I
Totally
love
agree with you. Speaking my language.
it. What is the best way for people to reach out to you to work with you?
Say either on LinkedIn or my website, Christine Hakkola, my name on LinkedIn, and my website is hakkolahorizons.com. Pretty easy to get in touch with me, either of those routes.
Any final words before we wrap up?
Gosh, the thing I find myself saying to my clients and on sales calls all the time is where I stand is I just want heart-centered coaches and entrepreneurs to be super successful. I don't think there's enough of them in the world, and I don't think there's enough people getting the support that they need. So my stance is just whatever you feel drawn to that's going to help you to be successful, do that. If it's me, amazing. If it's somebody else, awesome. I just wish everyone the most success.
Awesome. Beautiful. Christine, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your time. It's great to be here.
So that wraps up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go to hakkolahorizons.com. That's HAKKOLA horizons.com. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with our team and discover how we were able to go from zero to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing.